Hey guys, welcome to this week's Asquith show where we answer your questions. So any of your burning questions that you've got about growing your business, getting better results, sales, marketing, team building, whatever it is, it's an opportunity for you to ask any questions of me. Quick call with you, and hopefully we'll get the answers that you want. We've got a guy called James on the line today, so let's get him on the call. Hey James, how you doing? It's Jon Asquith.
Hi John, how you doing?
Yeah, good
thank you.
Good to speak to you today. So welcome to the show. What's your question today?
Thank you. Yeah, John, I've been following a lot of stuff on your social media, which I just wanted to say at this point is absolutely great. You're obviously the business growth guru, but I had a specific question that I wanted to ask you around business growth.
Yeah.
And that was to kind of get your great growing a business, but to ultimately grow a business to sell it. That's what I'm interested in. What would be your top 2 or 3 tips for growing a business to actually get it to a point where you can sell it for a significant life-changing sum of money?
Great question. So for those of you that didn't necessarily pick up on that, so it's all well and good growing a business, but James want to get focused on, well, what are the top things that we've got to focus on if we're looking at selling a business, not just selling any business, but for high whack or high value. I think you've got to look at, if we're going to break it down into 3 things like you've said, the first thing is understanding what you actually want to achieve from selling the business. So knowing what the end looks like. So actually having a defined plan, this is where we are now, this is what I actually want to sell it for. So you can start building a mechanism to that value. So if we just focus on 3 things other than that, the first thing is the system. The people that buy high growth businesses are interested in something that isn't dependent on you as the owner. It runs independently, or even better than that, despite you being there. You've got a flourishing, growing revenue and profit, and that doesn't need you to be there all the time. You don't necessarily have to be the go-to person. If you are the go-to person, that's going to diminish the value of the organization. It's going to lower the appetite of investors, because ultimately what they want to do is they want to buy your profit, and they want to buy your product or your service that you're providing. If you're part of that, it will normally lower the value, because they'll have to retain you for 5 or 10 years, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then the second thing to get focused on is recurring revenue or leveraged income. Okay, so you've got to look at what aspects of your organization, so using, let's say, a garage as an example, their day-to-day bread and butter is cars coming in, fixing the problems. Recurring revenue or leveraged income might look like, people paying for services 12 months in advance, or paying for a service plan on their vehicle. When you bought a new vehicle, you normally buy them with a service plan that will go in every 6 months.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you don't necessarily get the true value of that, but the customer knows that they're paying a monthly fee, and if anything goes wrong, it's going to be taken care of. The garage knows the likelihood of them actually having to pay out for that is highly unlikely. If you look on the books and the profitability, that's 100% profit until an issue happens with the vehicle. So the second thing is, what recurring revenue streams or leveraged income streams can the business have?
It's kind of like a membership scheme, yeah?
Membership scheme would be great, yeah. So people paying for your advice, or people paying for your insight, or people paying for a subscription, whatever that might look like.
Okay.
And I would say the third thing is to be really cautious of the monopoly within the business. I see so many companies that are growing rapidly, but they're growing with their major customer versus growing the sales across multiple different customers. If we look at the average SME right now in the UK, I would say that around 60% of their sales come from one company.
Really?
So if you're looking at buying that business, if you were the investor right now looking at buying my business, and you saw that one customer held 60% of my sales or 70-80% of my profit, that's high risk. We lose the customer, you lose the profit, ultimately lowers the value of the business. So never have... Go on.
So did you cover this in one of your other videos?
I think I did.
That customer should be bigger than 20%.
Correct, yeah. I think the key number is 20%. That's me. I don't. There's nothing set in stone. I've never read that anywhere. But I think 20% is a key number, because you're only ever going to lose 20% or a fifth of your business if anything goes wrong. Ideally, if you can have loads of customers that represent no more than 5%, that's ultimately going to increase the value of the business. But the key to selling businesses is finding a buyer, because your business is only worth what somebody's prepared to pay for it.
Of course, yeah.
So does that answer your questions on
Absolutely, and I'm interested to explore further with you the first point, because the business becoming less reliant on me as the owner. I understand now that obviously makes it more sellable, but obviously as the owner, it's certainly attractive to be working less. So yeah, I think that's something that I'd like to speak with you further on at some point.
Well, if you think about it, James, the majority of people out there, and sometimes we've just got to hold our hands up and be honest. The majority of us that are running a business, we're actually running a job. We're exchanging time for money. Business ownership is where you've got something that's working for you, not the other way around. So yeah, let's catch up afterwards and have a conversation about that.
Definitely, yeah, a lot of food for thought there, John. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for being on the call today, James.
Thanks a lot.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. And that's the end of episode 3 of Asquith. Hit the comments. I want to see what it is that you want to discuss on the next episode of Asquith. And make sure you subscribe for all the upcoming content that we're going to be releasing. See you on the other side.